water flowing through the Amazonia is not transparent. It is dark, dense, laden with sediments that conceal everything. Here, clarity does not exist, and in this world of liquid shadows, something waits, motionless, patient, lethal. The green anaconda does not need to see its prey. The water tells it everything. The Amazonia extends like a labyrinth of rivers, channels, and lagoons connected by invisible currents. Water dominates every corner. It flows among giant roots, drags fallen logs, and forms deep pools where sunlight barely penetrates. Dense vegetation creates an impenetrable canopy that submerges the ground in constant gloom. The air is saturated with humidity. Every breath is thick. The temperature remains high throughout the year, creating a natural greenhouse where life thrives in all its forms. But this abundance comes at a price. Competition is fierce. Every square meter is contested. Here there is no rest, only continuous adaptation or extinction. The main rivers, like the Amazonas and its tributaries, transport massive volumes of water that transform the landscape with each flood. During the rainy season, the water level rises several meters, flooding vast stretches of jungle and creating an amphibious world where land and water merge. This annual cycle redefines territories, redistributes nutrients, and forces every inhabitant to adjust survival strategies. The currents drag sediments that dye the water dark brown. Visibility beneath the surface is practically null. And it is precisely in these conditions where a colossal predator has perfected the art of ambush. Among submerged roots and floating vegetation, the most massive body of any known snake emerges. The green anaconda. It does not hunt with venom. It does not rely on speed. Its power lies in brute force and the ability to remain invisible until the last second. An adult female can exceed 8 meters in length and weigh over 200 kilograms. That colossal body moves with disconcerting fluidity. On land, it is slow, heavy, vulnerable. But in the water, it transforms. The river eliminates the weight of its mass. Every muscular movement propels it with no apparent effort. Beneath the murky surface, it disappears completely. The anaconda's skin features a pattern of dark spots on an olive-green background that blends perfectly with the shadows of the water. From above, it is almost impossible to distinguish it among the roots and aquatic vegetation. Its wide, flattened head barely protrudes when it breathes. Its eyes and nostrils are positioned on the top of its skull, allowing it to remain submerged while observing everything that happens on the surface. This anatomical adaptation is crucial. It allows it to approach undetected. The anaconda does not search for prey randomly. It studies patterns. It identifies frequent routes of caimans, capybaras, and other mammals that depend on the water. It positions itself at strategic points where currents converge or where vegetation creates forced passages. And it waits. Hours, days if necessary. Its slow metabolism allows it to fast for weeks after a plentiful meal. It is not in a hurry. Hunger does not rush it. It only acts when conditions are perfect. When a capybara approaches the river to drink, the anaconda remains motionless a few meters underwater. The capybara sees nothing. The dark water conceals everything. The predator waits for the exact moment. The prey lowers its head to reach the water. At that instant, the anaconda explodes in an explosive movement. It emerges from the bottom with unexpected speed for its size. Its jaws open and capture the animal's head or neck in a fraction of a second. But the bite is not the lethal blow. It is only the anchor. What comes next defines the anaconda. Its massive body coils around the prey with enormous force. Each breath of the victim allows it to tighten a little more. It does not crush bones directly. It compresses the thorax, prevents lung expansion, cuts off blood circulation. Death comes from asphyxiation or cardiovascular collapse. It is not quick, nor is it gentle. The process can last several minutes, depending on the size of the prey. During that time, the anaconda maintains constant pressure. It calculates every muscular adjustment. There is no unnecessary struggle, only brutal efficiency. Once the prey stops moving, the anaconda begins the ingestion process. Its jaws are not fused. The bones can separate, allowing it to open its mouth to an angle impossible for other animals. Slowly, it begins to swallow the entire prey. First the head. The muscles of its throat contract in rhythmic waves that drag the body inward. The process is slow. It can take hours for large prey. During that time, the snake is vulnerable. It cannot move quickly. It cannot defend itself effectively. But it finds refuge underwater or among dense vegetation where other predators dare not enter. An anaconda's digestion is a biochemical spectacle. Its stomach secretes extremely potent acids, capable of dissolving bones, hair, and skin. Everything breaks down. The energy extracted from a single large prey can sustain it for months. After feeding, the snake seeks a safe place to rest. It buries itself in the mud, hides among roots, or remains submerged in deep areas where the current is minimal. For weeks, it barely moves. Its body dedicates all available energy to processing the food. But the anaconda does not only hunt mammals. Its diet is opportunistic and diverse. Young caimans are among its frequent prey. 1.5 meter long crocodilian may seem like a formidable adversary, but the anaconda neutralizes it with the same technique. It wraps it, compresses it, drowns it. Even smaller adult caimans can fall if the snake surprises them at the right moment. It also captures large fish, aquatic birds that come down to drink, and occasionally other reptiles. Nothing is out of its reach if size and circumstances permit. Female anacondas are significantly larger than males. This size difference, known as sexual dimorphism, reaches extreme proportions in this species. While a female can exceed 8 meters and weigh over 200 kilograms, an adult male rarely exceeds 5 meters and weighs less than half. This disparity has direct implications for reproduction. During the mating season, which coincides with the end of the dry season and the beginning of the rains, females release chemical pheromones that disperse through the water. These signals attract multiple males from considerable distances. What follows is one of the strangest reproductive phenomena in the animal world. Males converge towards the female, forming what is known as a mating ball. Up to 12 males can simultaneously coil around a single female. The ensemble forms an intertwined mass of bodies that can weigh over half a ton. The males compete for access to the female's cloaca. There is no direct combat. The competition is physical. Each male tries to position himself strategically, using his body to block rivals. The female remains in the center, tolerating the constant pressure of multiple bodies coiled around her. This event can last weeks. The males do not feed throughout the period. They dedicate all their energy to maintaining their position. The female also does not hunt. She remains relatively motionless, while the males constantly reposition themselves. Finally, one or more males achieve copulation. The reproductive act itself can last several hours. Afterward, the males slowly disperse. Some are so weakened that they need days to recover. Others are vulnerable to predators because they have lost significant body mass. The anaconda's gestation is ovoviviparous. The eggs develop internally, and the young are born alive. The gestation period lasts approximately 6 months. During this time, the female does not feed. She lives exclusively on her fat reserves. Her body visibly thins. When the time for birth arrives, she can give birth to between 20 and 40 young, although in some cases, the number can exceed 80. Each hatchling measures between 60 and 80 centimeters at birth. They are completely independent from the first moment. There is no parental care. The mother moves away immediately after giving birth. The young face a hostile world from the instant they are born. They are vulnerable to practically all predators in the ecosystem. Caimans, raptors, large fish, and even other adult anacondas consider them easy prey. Infant mortality is extremely high. It is estimated that less than 10% of the young reach sexual maturity. Those that survive the first years grow rapidly. An anaconda can add several meters in length in its first 5 years if it finds enough food. Growth continues throughout its life, although it slows with age. The largest anacondas are usually ancient females that have survived decades in a relentless environment. These colossal matriarchs occupy the most productive territories. They dominate the best hunting grounds. Other snakes, even adult males, avoid direct confrontations with these giants. There is no formal hierarchy, but size commands respect. An 8-meter female fears no other terrestrial predator in the Amazonia. Only the largest and most experienced jaguars occasionally dare to attack adult anacondas, and generally only when the snake is on land and vulnerable. The interaction between jaguar and anaconda is a confrontation between two super predators. The jaguar possesses the most powerful bite among felines, capable of piercing skulls and turtle shells. But the anaconda is not easy prey. If it detects the feline in time, it takes refuge in the water, where it has an absolute advantage. On land, the outcome depends on the size of both contenders and the circumstances of the encounter. There are documented records of jaguars killing medium-sized anacondas, but there are also cases where large snakes have neutralized felines that venture too close to the water. The anaconda is not the only aquatic predator in the Amazonia, but it is the most massive. Black caimans, which can reach 5 meters in length, compete for territory and food. Interactions between these species are rare but revealing. A large adult caiman can kill a medium-sized anaconda if it surprises it. Similarly, a colossal anaconda can subdue a young or subadult caiman. Coexistence works because they occupy slightly different niches. Caimans are more active at night and prefer open waters. Anacondas hunt both day and night and use areas with greater vegetative cover. The distribution of the green anaconda spans practically the entire Amazonian basin. It is found in Brazil, Peru, Colombia, Venezuela, Ecuador, Bolivia, and the Guianas. It inhabits slow-flowing rivers, lagoons, swamps, and floodplains. It avoids fast currents because they hinder ambush. It prefers waters with abundant submerged vegetation that provides cover. During the dry season, when water levels drop drastically, anacondas concentrate in deep pools that remain full. This temporary concentration increases interactions between individuals and also facilitates reproductive encounters. The anaconda's behavior varies with age and size. Juveniles are more terrestrial, hunting mainly frogs, small fish, and rodents. They spend more time out of the water, exposing themselves to a greater risk of predation. As they grow, they become progressively more aquatic. Large adults rarely leave the water except to sunbathe on the banks during cool mornings. This thermoregulation behavior is crucial. Being ectothermic, the anaconda depends on external heat sources to raise its body temperature to optimal levels for digestion and other metabolic functions. The morning sun penetrates through the treetops, creating patches of light on the muddy banks. An anaconda slowly emerges from the water and crawls onto a fallen, partially submerged log. It extends its massive body to maximize the exposed surface. Its dark skin absorbs heat efficiently. During these basking sessions, it remains alert. Its eyes track any movement. Its sense of smell detects changes in the environment. If it perceives a threat, it slides back into the water in seconds. This balance between thermal need and safety defines much of its daily routine. Communication between anacondas is primarily chemical. They use their forked tongue to capture particles from the air and water, transferring them to the vomeronasal organ located in the roof of the mouth. This specialized organ interprets chemical signals with extraordinary precision. An anaconda can detect the trail of another snake that passed through the area days earlier. It can identify the sex, reproductive status, and approximate size of the individual that left the mark. This information is vital for avoiding competitors or locating potential mates. Anacondas do not vocalize. They do not produce warning sounds or territorial calls. Their presence is silent. Only the movement of water or the rustling of their body against vegetation occasionally betrays their position. This discretion is an integral part of their hunting strategy. A predator that announces its presence loses its advantage. The anaconda has perfected the art of acoustic invisibility. It moves without producing significant surface ripples. It crawls over mud without crunching. It is a ghost in a world already darkened by sediment. The Amazonian River is not a static environment. Currents constantly change. Seasonal floods transform the landscape. During flood season, vast areas of jungle are submerged under several meters of water. Trees remain with their trunks submerged, but their canopies emerging. This flooded forest creates a unique habitat. The anaconda ventures among the submerged trees, exploring temporary territories where prey also seek refuge. Capybaras swim among logs. Caimans patrol the channels formed between the roots. Competition intensifies because available space is reduced. When the waters recede, fish become trapped in isolated pools. Aquatic birds concentrate in these temporary lagoons to feed. Caimans take advantage of the sudden abundance. Anacondas do too. It is a period of plenty that compensates for the harder months. Each predator extracts what it can before the pools dry up completely. Anacondas, with their ability to fast extensively, can feed intensively during these windows of opportunity, and then retreat to deep refuges where they await the next wet season. The longevity of an anaconda in the wild is difficult to determine precisely. Estimates suggest they can live between 20 and 30 years, possibly more in ideal conditions. The largest individuals are likely the oldest. They have survived decades of floods, droughts, diseases, and encounters with predators. Every scar on their skin tells a story. Bite marks from caimans, scratches from jaguars, injuries from hooks or abandoned nets. Some wounds heal completely, others leave permanent deformities. But the anaconda continues. Its regenerative capacity is remarkable. It can recover from injuries that would be fatal to other animals. Parasites are a constant threat. Intestinal worms, blood protozoa, and ectoparasites that adhere to the skin. Anacondas combat some infestations by shedding their skin periodically. The shedding process removes external parasites and renews the protective layer. An adult anaconda sheds several times a year, depending on its growth rate and environmental conditions. Before shedding, its eyes become opaque and its skin dull. During this period, vision is compromised, and the snake is more vulnerable. It seeks refuge and remains inactive until the process is complete. Shedding begins at the head. The anaconda rubs its snout against rough surfaces to tear the old layer. Gradually, the entire skin peels off in a single piece, coming off inside out like an inverted sock. The complete process can take several days. The discarded skin floats in the water or gets caught in vegetation. It is transparent, perfectly showing the scale pattern. These remnants are evidence of anaconda's presence in an area, even if the animal has already moved far away. The anaconda's population density varies enormously depending on the habitat. In areas rich in prey and with abundant aquatic cover, several individuals can concentrate within a few square kilometers. In poorer areas, an individual may have a territory of tens of kilometers. They do not establish actively defended borders as some territorial mammals do. Rather, their ranges of movement overlap. Encounters are generally peaceful unless they coincide during the reproductive season or in dispute over a freshly caught prey. The anaconda's ecological impact on the Amazonia is significant. As a super predator, it regulates populations of aquatic herbivores and mesopredators. Without anacondas, capybaras could proliferate uncontrollably, overgrazing aquatic vegetation. Young caimans, without their natural predator, would reach adulthood in greater numbers, intensifying pressure on fish and other prey. The anaconda's presence maintains a balance. It does not eliminate species, it controls them. Every death it causes is part of a regulatory mechanism that has functioned for millions of years. The relationship between humans and anacondas is complex. In traditional riverside communities, the snake is respected and feared. There are numerous legends about gigantic anacondas that have supposedly attacked boats or devoured people. Most of these stories are exaggerations. Documented attacks on adult humans are extremely rare. The anaconda generally avoids encounters with humans. If it detects people, it submerges and moves away. However, in areas where it has been repeatedly persecuted or disturbed, some snakes may become more defensive. When cornered, an anaconda can defend itself aggressively. It does not possess venom, but its bite is painful and can cause severe infections due to bacteria present in its mouth. Bite wounds are often multiple and bleeding because its recurved teeth tear tissue upon retraction. Furthermore, a large anaconda may attempt to coil around a human aggressor. Although cases of fatal constriction in adults are practically non-existent in verified records, the compressive force is enough to cause serious injuries. The popular perception of the anaconda as a man-eater has been fueled by decades of sensationalist films and unverified reports. The reality is much less dramatic. An anaconda that feeds on a 40-kilogram capybara needs weeks or months to digest it completely. An average adult human weighs significantly more. Anatomically, it would be possible for an exceptionally large anaconda to ingest a human, but the event would be extremely rare and would likely only occur under very specific circumstances. There is no solid scientific evidence that anacondas actively hunt humans. The true threat to anacondas comes from humans. Habitat destruction is the greatest risk. Deforestation advances relentlessly. Rivers are contaminated with mercury from illegal mining. Hydroelectric dams alter natural flood cycles. Agricultural expansion drains wetlands. Every lost hectare reduces the space available for anacondas and their prey. In addition, many snakes are killed out of fear or for their skin. The illegal trade in anaconda skins persists in some regions, although it has decreased compared to past decades. Despite these pressures, the green anaconda is not classified as an endangered species. Its wide distribution and the vastness of the Amazonia provide it with some resilience. However, local populations are declining in areas of high human disturbance. The larger snakes, which require extensive territories and abundant prey, are the first to disappear when an ecosystem degrades. Their absence destabilizes the local balance, creating cascading effects that impact multiple levels of the food chain. Anaconda conservation depends on the protection of entire aquatic ecosystems. It is not enough to protect the snake directly. It is necessary to preserve the rivers where it hunts, the lagoons where it reproduces, the floodplains that sustain its prey. This requires comprehensive environmental policies that consider the full complexity of the Amazonian ecosystem. It requires combating deforestation, regulating mining, controlling pollution, and establishing extensive protected areas where nature can function without significant human interference. In some regions, ecotourism initiatives focused on anaconda observation exist. Local guides take visitors to areas where the snakes are relatively tolerant of human presence. These experiences generate income for local communities and create economic incentives to protect the habitat. When people see an anaconda in its natural environment, perception changes. Fear gives way to awe, understanding replaces myth, and the will to protect increases. Scientific research on anacondas has advanced significantly in recent decades. Telemetry studies using implanted transmitters have revealed previously unknown movement patterns. It has been documented that some anacondas undertake seasonal migrations of several kilometers following water fluctuations. Others remain in relatively small territories for years. This variability suggests that the species is more behaviorally flexible than previously thought. Different populations in different environments develop strategies adapted to local conditions. Genetic studies have revealed significant diversity within what was considered a single species. Some isolated populations show genetic differences that suggest centuries or millennia of reproductive separation. This raises questions about whether the green anaconda is actually a unique species or a complex of closely related species. Such discoveries have implications for conservation. If genetically distinct lineages exist, each adapted to specific conditions, the loss of any represents an irreversible reduction in evolutionary diversity. The anaconda's life cycle is intimately linked to the seasonal pulse of the Amazonia. Rains bring abundance, rivers swell, prey multiply. Anacondas hunt, feed, grow. When the dry season arrives, the system contracts, spaces shrink, competition increases, the snakes fast, metabolism slows. They survive by consuming their reserves, and when the first rains return, the cycle restarts. Generation after generation, the rhythm continues, relentless, immutable. The Amazonia is a system in unstable equilibrium. Every species inhabiting these rivers depends on the water, on the darkness, on the dense vegetation that filters the light. At first glance, it seems untouchable, but beneath the surface, everything is changing. Deforestation advances, rivers are polluted, and the anaconda's habitat fragments year after year. The strength of this ecosystem is not in its immensity, but in its capacity to regenerate. Protecting the Amazonia is protecting the last refuge of silent giants that have nowhere else to exist. Every river that disappears, every hectare that falls, forever erases a fragment of this hidden world. The anaconda does not just inhabit the water, it is part of the water. And when the water dies, it disappears with it. Without a sound, without resistance, it simply ceases to exist. If you felt the power of this journey, like the video, subscribe to the channel and activate the notification bell so you don't miss the next stories of nature in its purest state. Until next time.